Alright everyone, I was gonna stay here and review these chapters, but honestly we gotta pack it up and run, cause even Hermes is shooketh. Before we hop in this review of chapter 48 and 49 of Record of Ragnarok, please do me a favor and leave your own thoughts on the chapters in the comment section down below. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, make sure you hit that little notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Now, let's get into it. Yo, what's up guys, I got Pencil here, and here we are to review chapters 48 and 49 of Record of Ragnarok. And golly gee willikers, these chapters were bussin'. Now let's get right into it. So we open up with chapter 48. It's a continuation of the curb stomp, and the thing is, like, see, this fight is gonna be so good in retrospect once it's finished. I'm pretty sure, because like, it's kind of smacking right now. It's kind of smacking, but only because of the end. Like, here, there's so many things I'm gonna talk about. So for the one, we see the two are still going at it, and the thing is, I'm liking how the Misery Cleaver is much more adaptable now. Like, Zero essentially doesn't have to like say things to it as much anymore. He doesn't have to like go through these big bombastic transformations for it to do some changes. Like, the weapon itself is sort of just adapting to the situation and Zero's will, so it'll attack on its own. So like when Zero slams it into the that line early on in chapter 48 gives a whole different meaning by the end of the chapter 49. I just realized that. But the thing is, the way that Zero slams the Misery Cleaver down, he slams it down, but then without saying anything, without doing anything, him just holding it, like it reading his mind or something like that, it unfolds itself and stabs out. Buddha still blocks it, of course, because it's Big Papa Buddha. He knows everything. But the thing is, it's cool to see the axe react like that, because it's a much more living weapon than it was before. And to be fair, it was always a living weapon. It was literally a part of Zero that he pulled out of him. But still, it's cool seeing it evolve even further like this, where it's much more like automatically responsive without much of Zero's input. Like, to be fair, he does go to the hit, and then he ends up making like a 3-section staff on some Bond type beat. Well, not even 3-section staff. Like, I'm not even sure what that weapon's called, because unlike maybe it is just a 3-section staff. Is it though? Because it has like big massive blades on the end. 3-section spear, I don't know. Regardless, it looks super cool. I really like the design of it, like the different bone like textures, the falling apart veins. It's really cool. I especially like how Zero holds it. But then we get to see that Buddha's like, golly gee willikers, well, time for another weapon. And he turns around the well, no, he doesn't turn it around. The staff itself turns to accommodate what Buddha needs in that moment. And what Buddha apparently needs after it turns back on his own is the Lokapala 12 Diva Axe, which is it's a much more simple design, but I like it because of the detail put into it. Like, I know I've already geeked out a lot on Record of Ragnarok art, but since I talk about it so rarely, I'm gonna keep bugging you all about it. I think the art is amazing for how much detail can be crammed into arguably very simple designs. Now, I say arguably very simple designs because all the Record of Ragnarok designs are super complex. Just look at the anime. When they tried to animate it, we got a slideshow for a reason. But the thing is, the little details, like the shading of the weapon, the different textures, how the light reflects off of it, how you can see the weapon, like there's certain little things that the mangaka goes to give the art more life, more depth to it. While on a basic level, you could very easily simplify that design down and it wouldn't have the same effect. I think that's great. I love the fluidity and motion that the author has too, like the action lines, how they blur the effects of the 6 wheels spinning, how it ends up, like there's so much. The art basically jumps off the page with how alive it feels, thanks to how well it's drawn, and I think that's amazing. And then we hop right back into the fight. And the thing that I do like about this is that the audience is sort of like getting more and more involved, and Zero's sort of realizing more and more that, well, to be fair, he realized this chapters ago, but he's realizing that, wow, I kind of suck right now. It'd be like that when it be like that sometimes. Like, Heimdall points out, thanks to his future vision, Buddha's just like casually negging Zero. Like, despite the fact that they're both on relatively even grounds, probably like in terms of strength, in terms of combat prowess, the future vision is what's really giving Buddha the edge here. And you can see it by how Buddha's like hard countering just about everything that Zero throws at him, even with this like arguable weapon advantage. Sure, Buddha has like the range advantage because he has a whole staff, while meanwhile Zero has 3 sections, but still you would expect Zero to have the upper hand. But the future vision plus Buddha's calm mind and like probably a better understanding of the situation, it's helping him out a lot. And I don't know, like when when Heimdall says Buddha lands a tricky backslash, like for some reason I haven't even played Xenoblade, but I did play Smash Bros. So Smash, but what? No, backslash just ran through my head. Backslash. It specifically reminded me of a moment where I accidentally backslashed myself off stage. Like, I didn't kill anybody with me. I just ended up backslashing off stage and dying. That's all I heard. The thing is, it looks completely different from Shulk's backslash. So I don't know why I thought of it. I think it's just the wording that got me. And the thing is, we get to see that, yo, I'm not gonna lie. I thought when Zero Fuku's like Misery Cleaver started to like load up like that, I thought he had the piece on him. I thought he was about to hit Buddha with it. I thought Buddha was about to see that strap real quick. I'm not gonna lie, because of how it looks like it's about to fire off something, but no, it just explodes into like Misery Cleaver storm formation, and bada bing, bada boom. It's just a massive storm of blades that's supposed to crush Buddha. And the thing is, Buddha's weapon gets even smaller to counteract it, which I kind of get. Like, you may want to, because all the blades obviously can't attack you at once. Like, they're too big, and they'll probably just get in each other's way. But I feel like could have done a bit better here. Like, I don't know. This wasn't really the strat. Like, what was the strat here, buddy? Like, I guess you were just hoping that he would die to a massive attack, even though he avoided all your massive attacks before. Like, to be fair, the last one was arguably more undodgeable. Like, when the Misery Cleaver just became gigantic, like a wall of metal, I feel like that was way more undodgeable than the thing you just threw at him. But the thing is, the weapon transforms one more time into Akshaya. I'm pretty sure Akshaya. I don't know. Correct my pronunciation in the comment section down below. By the way, thank you guys so much for everyone who's been helping me out in the comments by identifying Buddha's weapon, by telling me everything about it, giving me insights on the religions that are being covered here. Like, this all has been very informative. Thank you guys so much. Please keep up doing that, because I'm obviously not gonna know anything. And the thing is, like, I did a little research after reading chapter 49, and all I found was this one broken dude from a visual novel, so obviously, or a light novel, one of the two. So I don't know much about what happens at the end, so please don't be afraid to enlighten me. I have like some idea, but we'll get into that eventually. So we get to see that Buddha, he's going around, and I do like, this is where the crowd aspect comes in. Like, Zero's just trying to kill Buddha, no matter what, no matter how, no matter why. So when Buddha like runs near the crowd and ends up trying to avoid Zero's just like, weapon, keep attacking. And since Buddha's dodging, the weapon almost hits the crowd. And like, the audience literally has to run, but Buddha's like, nah, I'm too good of a person for that. I'm too clean, buddy. And he leaps back and blocks the weapons for him, all in one swing. And honestly, I feel like that implies, I guess it was already kind of implied, and the later fight implies this too, that despite Zero being like a menace in terms of like raw lifting strength and power, Buddha ain't no slouch. Buddha's hit the gym. Buddha has been getting them gains. He slaps away like all those swords in one swing, which is very impressive. And the only thing that caught me off guard, this random lady says, like, first, the dude in the suit says, he saved us. A normal reaction. And this other lady's like, he had such a nice smell. Hello? What? Like, what? That threw me off guard. Like, I literally thought there was a mistranslation thing, left it alone for a few days, came back to it, and it was still there. So I'm assuming that's the official translation. And it just throws me off. Like, why? He had such a nice smell. I'm sorry, that one sent me. I'm like, what? Lady, is that the thing that you almost die? Again, probably. I don't know what era that lady's from, but you almost die. And the first thing you know is that, man, that guy that just saved my life smelled really, really good. Smelled like roses. I don't know. Threw me off, but I still find it hilarious. And the thing is, we get to see that Buddha really is just straight up playing to the crowd. He's enjoying himself. And the thing is, he literally is like, wow, your puberty's amazing, Zero. And Zero's like, huh? Like, I know I'm supposed to feel super bad for Zero. I'm glad a lot of people do, because I have been scanning the Reddit forums. I've been scanning all the discussions online. Like, I have been seeing like the reactions to Zero, Buddha in this entire fight. So a lot of people are caring for Zero, but Zero's too funny for me to really feel bad for, bro. Like, he's a whole clown. He's a whole clown. And he's a clown with like a horrible past, terrible backstory, and like extreme suffering, especially later on in this chapter. But, well, later on next chapter. But even still, he's so funny to me. Especially the way the mangaka draws him. Like, I feel like Zero on his own is supposed to have like a really intimidating, like power evoking design, but like in practice, the way the mangaka bends his design to like a better fit the situation or his mood, it's just hilarious to me. I don't know, it just always sends me okay, enough of that. So we get to see that Buddha, he is just straight up body bagging Zero. and Zero's axe has reverted. But we get to see what the real problem with Zero is. To be fair, we knew this. He's sad that no one cares about him. He's just like, man, everyone likes Buddha, but no one likes your boy. Like, come on, man. I do all the work, but where are my subs, buddy? Where are my subs? Like, Buddha's a yo, this is gonna sound wild. Buddha's a Twitch streamer that blew up after like 2 streams of work, and then bada bing, bada boom, doesn't have to worry about it ever again. Meanwhile, Zero's been doing 24-hour streams back to back all week, not getting anything out of it. And he's just like, yo, where's my support? But he forgets the real message is learning to love his own content. Yo, that's actually, the funny thing is, I'm not honestly that wrong. But we get to see that Zero is like, he's just jealous, really. He's just like, darn, everyone loves Buddha. No one loves me. And the thing is, I feel like there's a bit of mixed messaging here, but I guess you always do need like a little support from someone else before you can love yourself, because Buddha instantly opens up with, Zero, you gotta love yourself. And Zero's like, bruh, stop saying stuff that don't make sense. I have no idea what that means. And then I guess Buddha like realizes that, oh, okay, maybe the love yourself message it's not time yet. Hold on, let me butter him up a bit first. Let me warm him up. He says, you know what, Zero, I really like you. And then Zero's like, whoa, hold on. I think the puzzle pieces, all 2 of them, are clicking in my head. Self-love, external love, oh! And then, I'm so sorry for that sound. But the thing is, he says, like, he first gets angry and he like looks at Buddha, but then Buddha has this like heavenly aura. I don't know, this was a very interesting panel. Like, if I hadn't drawn Buddha just last chapter, I would have drawn him again. But the thing is, I don't know, this is a very interesting panel. I wonder if it has like, if that symbol behind him has any symbolism, or it's just supposed to be like a bright sun behind him. But then we get to see that Zero has like occurred his revelation. Like, he has achieved a form of enlightenment. I don't think he's achieved the same enlightenment Buddha has, because he doesn't have the same symbols in his eyes. But I do believe, like, to some degree, he has achieved, or he's like starting to walk the path to enlightenment. As you can tell by how the misery cleaver, the thing that binds you down to your worldly desires, sort of falls out of his hand. It like literally shrinks, loses all its misery, and collapses, which is very good visual storytelling. And then we get to see that Buddha is like, yo, Zero, you got a real nice look on your face right now, buddy. Because like Zero's in shock, he's sort of calming down. And then we get to see Buddha being the realest one ever, bro. He's like, don't need this weapon anymore. And I think this was a really cool moment, because it shows that Buddha really was like never out to murder Zero. Like, sure, Zero was an obstacle in the way of saving humanity, and that's what Buddha wanted to do, but at the same time, Buddha wants to save everybody in a way, shape, or form. He wants everyone to do what they wish, and he doesn't want anyone to be held down by anything. So I'm super happy to see that Buddha is just willing to, like, play the game with Zero. That's essentially what he's been doing this entire time, trying to help him out. And the thing is, Zero starts to get it too. Like, he's running in and they both go to fisticuffs. And I love the dynamics of this battle, because it's like a really close fight. And this is the first, I'm pretty sure. Let me take a look. Yeah, this is the first hit that Zero ever lands on Buddha. Like, they both swing for each other and they're equals. And I love that. But as you can tell, Zero took a little bit more damage. Well, no, he's in the mental throes right now. Because Buddha, meanwhile, while he did take a hit, he just has a big old dumb grin on his face while Zero's like crying and in pain. But I love how that's the first hit that Zero lands. One where Buddha hits him to one as equals, rather than anything unbiased, or like Buddha very easily could have dodged that. But you know he didn't, for a purpose. I think that's sweet on Buddha's end. I think that's nice. I'm so happy he did that for Zero, because I'm assuming it's all for Zero at this point. And then we get to see that this is when they literally start exchanging blows. Buddha has stopped trying to dodge Zero, because now he's trying to get Zero to accept himself through accepting him. It's like supposed to be this law of equivalent exchange type. All my Full Metal Alchemist fans out there, y'all know what I mean. Learn a bit about someone else and learn a bit about yourself. It's something like that. And I love how these two, in this bare knuckle brawl, like the most basic kind of fight you can have, these two are finding enlightenment one another, finding happiness. And I like that. Like, Buddha has a sincere smile on his face with the one fang showing, and Zero has this big old dumb grin on his face, and I love it. Thing is though, Buddha's like, yo, by the way, I still gotta win, buddy. He smacks, yo, like, once again, like the mangaka was just sending me all over this chapter, the backslash, the nice smell, his fist, like I said, the mangaka knows how to do detail. because the sheer, like, the extra detail on Buddha's fist as it slams bare knuckle fist face first into Zero's knocker, like that was a whole slobber knocker. Literally knocked all the teeth out of Zero's mouth. It didn't knock any teeth out of his mouth, but it was literally the straight punch to end all straight punches. And I watched Adam versus Zeus because it literally is so detailed as he just bam straight through Zero's face. Once again, I couldn't help laughing. But the thing is, we get to see that Zero Fuku is knocked out cold. And that's the end of chapter 48. And here's the thing. We hop right into the next chapter immediately. The Legend from the Netherworld. And to be fair, I should have gotten ready off of that title alone. But I think a main line reading this me didn't even notice. And this is another, do I just talk about it now? The spoilers actually enhance these chapters for me. Because I was so ready for the fight to be over just like that I was nowhere near expecting the twist at the end. Because all the spoilers were saying the fight between Buddha and Zero ends. And I'm like, okay. And y'all know what would have happened to Buddha versus Zero. It would have been put at the bottom of the fights list. It was going to happen immediately. But now, who knows? Because we get into this chapter and Zero's on the ground and he reverts back to his happy state. And I don't know. I really like that. I'm glad that state was always in him. And like the misery wasn't like once again, it ties him into his weapon. Like the misery cleaver was just as much him as he was a misery cleaver. So it lost all of its misery and he lost all of his misery. So his hair goes back to pure white. He's happy and the horns fall out. And the thing is, I was admittedly confused at first because like I had noticed that stray detail. I'd be overanalyzing art like crazy, but somehow I missed the intro of this. I'm mad inconsistent with how I read things. I have no idea. But the thing is, we get to see that Zero's just happy. He's smiling. He's so happy. But then the horns, like when I first read this, I was like, whoa, what? Because like the horns start to shake. And then the other one horn starts to shake, the other one does too. And then the horn on the right, the horn on Zero's right ends up like turning into a drill. And then they plow into, it's so crazy. And the thing is, Zero's like having this whole like redemption arc of like how, yeah, I'll try to love myself. The horns drill right back into it. Like this is such a violent scene. Like the way that the mangaka once again draws Zero here, instead of being funny, it's just like, it's gore, it's terrifying, I love it. But the thing is, we get to see that Zero is like darn near being possessed, and like, they drove into his ears. Was it his ears or just straight up his head? I can barely even tell. Maybe his ears, because like behind his hair. But the thing is, he's rising up and like the horns tear out of him. Like they drove into him, like grabbed something, I guess, tore out of him, and then proceed to like, it just looks wrong. Like the way the horns force its way down his throat and into the hole in his chest, and they stop being horns, like turns into this weird like fleshy structure, and then coming out of nowhere, like he's built like this horrible like malignant zombie at first, and then he's slowly like losing control of himself, like he's double voiced up, everything's happening, and then two massive dragons rip out. Like what was I'm gonna tell you, I was so confused when I read this chapter for the first, like I sometimes I wish I did record live reactions to me reading stuff, because y'all would have just been hearing me be so confused, like actively wondering what in the world was going on. And the two dragons rip out of him. And this has got to be illegal, bro. Zeus, I know you want to see a good fight, but he can be canceled. Like, help him. Like, y'all don't even know what this is. And a hint to, like, the future reveal at the end of this chapter about Buddha's powers, you know that something is wrong. Because the way that Buddha reacts to this is with surprise. The same surprise as everybody else. He's really going, what? Like, he is showing that he hasn't really been able to see that this was going to happen. None of this was like forecasted. This was outside the path of enlightenment, and that's mad concerning. I just thought about that detail right there. But then the dragons go back, and the thing is, Buddha runs in to try and save Zero because he sees the dragons like going in for a knock. But the thing is, this is like and now I'll admit, I actually straight up felt bad for Zero. Like when he is holding his hand up, begging for Buddha to help him as the dragons swirl around him and wrap him in this gosh darn cocoon, and then start producing so much energy that Buddha himself can't even manage to stay on his feet anymore, and is just blown back and is forced to hold on to the stadium. Like this, Oh, man, if we had a good anime, this would smack animated. I know it would. But once again, the dynamic art movement, bro, the way the dragons fold in on themselves and create this massive cocoon of different dragons, amazing. But the thing is, no one knows with it. Like, Brunhild seems to be the only one who, like, is kind of calm for some reason. Like, while Gear is, like, freaking out, as Gear always does, Brunhild, like, has no reaction. She's just staring. And while Aphrodite also doesn't seem to have a negative reaction, she just says it's ugly. Buddha's sitting there sweating, and then these two hands rip out of the cocoon. And just two gigantic arms. Like, this being is so big that it dwarfs Buddha. And realize Buddha was like twice Zero Fuku's size. So this dude is gigantic. But then we get to see something that actually like shook me to my core. Like, okay. So we have this roster of people who are just not meant to express fear, shock, surprise at anything, even anything powerful. They're not supposed to be shook by it. Like, we have Isami Kondo and Soji Okita, two beings that are willing to fight up against 8 gods while they were outnumbered 8-3. No, literally 2-1 in that scenario. Shooketh. We have Sasaki Kojiro, the man who was unrivaled in all of creation, who had scanned creation itself. Shooketh. We have Brunhild, the knowledgeable I know anything and everything. Shooketh. We have Odin. Even, like, it's hard to tell by how tiny that panel is. But even then, say Odin isn't really that shooketh. Even though I think he is, because like his mouth is a little bit open, he seems to be shocked. The only thing that seemed calm on him are the birds. I figured the birds would be freaking out. But Loki, the being who's ready to slaughter the Buddha off tournament grounds, shooketh. But the one that scared me the most wasn't Zeus, who was also shooketh. It was Hermes, bro. Look at her. Like, he is maintaining like the butler stance, but look at the look on his face. That man is shooketh. And I was like, Hermes is scared, bro. We're done. Like, Buddha, I felt bad. Like, I instantly felt bad for Buddha. Like, you could see Buddha's shock the clearest. Like, obviously, he's the one who's the most shooketh. But in terms of me being shooketh, by other characters being shooketh, it was Hermes. It was Hermes. Hermes expressed no fear. That man read through stop time. And to be fair, that makes sense. He's a god of speed. But still, he is shooketh by what emerged out of that egg. And you know what emerged out of that egg? No, I can't even get into that just yet, because it doesn't even do that. The chapter then says, was the reason Buddha leapt back in that instant, as if out of reflex, because he could see what was coming? Nay. The being rips out. Like, I know I'm just giving a play-by-play of the chapter, but like, I love how dramatic this is. When the narrator steps in, you know it's getting real, buddy. When the narrator in reverse text too, white text on the black background, you know we're in trouble, buddy. Yo, when it rips out, it's basically just, I'm not sure what this will be colored as. Like, if we ever get a colored version of the manga or in the anime, I'm not sure if this is going to be red. But if this being is what I think it's doing and is ripping out of the carcasses of the dragons and Zero's body, and it's just covered in blood, oh my lord, this is going to be a visceral image. And you can just see, it destroys the entire shell containing it. The shell collapses. It lands upon the earth, blood dripping from its very body. And then it looks down on Buddha, who is shook. And then the narrator says, it was for the simple fact that he could see nothing. Like, Buddha is shooketh. Like, you can see, he picked up the weapon. He instantly picked up his weapon. He was ready to fight. Yeah, he has no idea who this is. He has no idea. He can't see the future. Nothing is here. I'm so sure. The only person who has any idea of what's going on, we cut to a room that has a fly on it. And the thing is, we go inside this library. It seems to be a massive library with a ton of knowledge. And there's a guy in a chair watching a screen. And he has some weird beasts with him, weird experiments, weird information with him. He seems to be some sort of construction worker, or like he seems to have a workshop basically. But then we get to see that while Zero Fuku has changed form again, there's only one person who knows anything about it. And then we get to see that it's him, Beelzebub, the fighter of the god. Bro, when I was telling you, and here's the thing, I've read like another series that has an interpretation of this character, and he looks way different in that series than he does here. This guy looks kind of soft. He kind of has drip. But the thing is, he's the only one that gives like any sort of like background on what this could be, what just happened really, because he's like, oh, interesting. At white light and black shadows blending, the horns in the netherworld shall awaken, and eternal darkness be born. The legendary berserker of the netherworld, Hajun. Bro, shooketh. Like, Buddha, this is the most scared. This is the only time I think we've seen Buddha genuinely scared, bro. And like, ooh, I'm not even sure. Maybe it isn't blood. Maybe it isn't blood. Because it seems like the miasma, it's probably a miasma. Because the miasma seems to ride up Hajun's body and form once again. But the only notable difference here is that the horns are now black, gigantic, and curving. And the hole that once existed in Zero's heart is gone. It's just covered in miasma. And bro, Demon Lord of the Sixth Heaven, Hajun. Bro, I was blown away. Golly. And then he just says, divine retribution cometh, and the chapter ends. Bro, this was amazing. This was golly, this was I have no words. Like that may have been one of my favorites. Like, that stands up there with the conclusion of Sasuke versus Poseidon. That stands up there with the conclusion of Zeus versus Adam. Like that, and I'm talking about conclusions. I'm talking about endings. Like, that was amazing to read. It was fantastic. I loved it from the art. And I love how Buddha steals himself right at the very end. Like, he goes from being shook to having this sort of angry look on him. Like, he knows he's about to send this thing to the next dimension where it came from. It came from the sixth heaven. Oh, wait a minute. No, it's called the Sixth Realm Staff, not the Sixth Heaven Staff. But weird. Something like, I love the chapter. Blew my mind. It was amazing. Like, y'all, that was essentially my live reaction to the chapter, just like reduxed. So let's just talk about this. Here's the thing. I think the greatest thing we're gonna get out of this fight is a serious Buddha, a Buddha that's forced to not hold back anymore. For one. Two, I am honestly super intrigued with what Zero Fuku was, and also if he has any real stake in mythology now that this being does seem to exist. Now, no, I'm going on for whatever I could find on Google after like 10 minutes of searching, so do not be afraid to correct me in the comment section down below. But at least from my understanding of what Hajun is, he's sort of like the big bad of Buddhism. Like, he's supposed to be like the destroyer of all things good, like the being who walks opposite to the path of enlightenment. And that's probably why Buddha can't see the future right now, because this is like, it's not something that's supposed to exist. And you can tell by how, like, at least by the way Beelzebub describes it, like, this is something that shouldn't have happened. Like, the one thing is that the horns weren't initially part of, hold on, let me go back. No, the horns were always a part of Zero, so I guess this is just like a natural line of his evolution. Like, if I had to compare it to anything, like, one of my favorite Pokemon is Hoopa, so like, I consider this like Zero's unbound form of Hoopa. And like, I guess the more specific thing would be like, he has the Meloetta thing where he can switch back and forth between forms, like one form for light, one form for darkness. But I guess like when the conditions are met, he evolves into like this thing. I don't know. This was wild, essentially. But the thing is, if I'm like anyway right, because even in the little visual novel I read, apparently this is supposed to be like, Hajun is supposed to be like this culmination of everything. But if I'm right, and the reason that Buddha can't see the future is because this person is like literally Buddha's natural predator, or like the opposite of Buddhism, whoa, for one. Two, I'm super intrigued to see how Buddha fights, because I still hope Buddha wins. Like, not gonna lie, while I do feel super bad for Zero, this ain't Zero no more. This is Hajun. This is a different bro. This is a different man. This is a different deity. So honestly, you should be disqualified, because like Zero's gotten so many exceptions. First it was Bishamoten fighting, and after seeing what happened to Zero, Bishamoten would have been washed. But then we had Zero fighting, and Zero lost. And technically, at least maybe Zero's still alive up in there. Maybe Buddha will like stab him through the little miasma hole and rip Zero back out. But Buddha won the fight. Zero's dead, or at least he should be. Man got ate by dragons, or like transformed by dragons. So I don't think this is like Zero changing form again, because like when the 7 lucky gods fused back into Zero, that was a consensual thing. Like, they did that of their own whim. Y'all literally watched Zero cry for help as he was like taken over by 2 dragon demon horns. Like, this doesn't seem legit. I feel like Buddha should win this fight by pure technicality at this point. But obviously Buddha isn't going to take that. He isn't just going to take he's not going to take the technical and leave, essentially. So we definitely are going to see a fight between these two, and I'm super excited to see it. Mainly because we're gonna have to see a Buddha who fights purely with combat skill now. He doesn't have his cheat anymore. He's now, this is gonna sound wild, purely human, in the sense that he's going to have to deal with every single thing as it's supposed to happen in the sense of time, considering he's fighting a being that's beyond enlightenment. Or not, maybe not beyond, but see, and I was gonna say, when I was thinking about recording this after reading the chapter, I was like, yo, I'm about to say that Arjuna is a being beyond time, because he's outside of Buddha's scope of reality, and Buddha literally sees down the timeline. So, fifth dimensional beings, anybody? No, I'm kidding. But the thing is, I'm just super excited. I've been recording for way too long. I'm actually looking at the time. It's been like 30 minutes. So if you are still here, wow, thank you for being here. But thing is, chapter is super exciting. Honestly, 2 10 out of 10s. Like, I was a big criticism. I was a big criticizer of the early parts of the fight, mainly because it didn't feel like it was going anywhere. It felt like Zero was just getting bullied. But now being recontextualized and confirmed into Buddha helping Zero, and now with this new plot twist, meaning that the fight's going to go on for longer with an entirely different fighter who's probably way more powerful than Zero, and Buddha lost his cheat ability, I think it's going to go nuts. It's going to go crazy. We're going to have so much fun. It's going to be amazing to see. But that's what I think. What do you guys think? Please. Oh, also, wait. Before I ask y'all, tell me what y'all think in the comment section down below. Do you think he's going to pick up the Misery Cleaver again? It's going to transform? Do you think that Arjuna is going to have the Misery Cleaver, or is he going to, like, rip out a different weapon? Is he going to whip out the dragons? Like, I have no idea. I'm super excited for the next chapter. But please, tell me what you guys think. Did you like these chapters? Did you think they were great? Are you excited for chapter 50? Bro, I am. Please tell me everything in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you hit that little notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Thank you guys once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That Guy with the Pencil, writing off.